On August 4th, 2026, Brock Lesnar appeared on the Pat McAfee show and confirmed what fans had been speculating for days. "I'm here today to do this interview, to let the world and everybody know that I am retired," Lesnar said. "Saturday was a very emotional day for me." That Saturday was August 1st, 2026, the night Lesnar lost to Femi in a Hell in a Cell match at SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Lesnar's home state. The loss was not an isolated moment. It was the third and final chapter of a trilogy between Lesnar and Femi that had unfolded across several months. Lesnar explained the emotional weight behind the decision by referencing an earlier match in the series. "When Femi slammed me at WrestleMania, I was like, I can't do this again. So, I was like, I think I'm done. But the business and I still had some fuel in the tank." That WrestleMania encounter took place at WrestleMania 42 in April 2026, where Lesnar lost to Femi and removed his gloves and boots, leaving them in the ring, a gesture widely read as a retirement signal at the time. Weeks later, in May 2026, Lesnar returned and defeated Femi at Clash in Italy. The rubber match came at SummerSlam, and this time, the ending was final. But Saturday for Brock Lesnar, that's it. That's it for me in the squared circle and for everything else too. That closing line made clear this retirement covered not just professional wrestling, but any possibility of a future combat sports comeback as well. This was not the first time Lesnar had signaled the end of his career. He had walked away from WWE once before, and he had also stepped away from mixed martial arts in the past, only to return each time. What made this announcement different, according to those covering the story, was the tone and finality of his words, paired with the physical toll visible after the SummerSlam bout. Lesnar was 49 years old at the time of the announcement, a fact that added weight to the decision after more than 2 decades of competing at an elite level across multiple combat sports. To understand the significance of that announcement, it helps to trace the full arc of Lesnar's career, one that began long before his first WWE appearance. Before signing with WWE, Lesnar built a decorated amateur wrestling career at the University of Minnesota, where he became a 2-time All-American and 2-time Big Ten champion. In 2000, he captured the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. That same year, he joined Ohio Valley Wrestling, WWE's developmental territory at the time. By 2002, he had debuted on WWE's main roster, marketed under the nickname The Next Big Thing. His rise was rapid, and within a short span, he became one of the promotion's most dominant attractions, highlighted by his 2002 King of the Ring victory. His combination of amateur wrestling credentials and an imposing physical presence set him apart from many of his peers at the time, and WWE positioned him as a centerpiece of its programming almost immediately after his debut. In 2004, Lesnar left WWE, citing the demands of the touring schedule. Around this period, he also survived a serious motorcycle accident during his recovery and transition period. What followed was an unexpected pivot. Lesnar attempted a career in the NFL, training with the Minnesota Vikings and appearing in a preseason game as a defensive lineman that same year. He did not make the Vikings' regular season roster. He was also presented with an opportunity to continue his football pursuit through the Vikings' European affiliate, but he turned it down, choosing instead to prioritize family over continuing that path. That decision marked an early example of Lesnar stepping away from a career opportunity for personal reasons, a pattern that would resurface decades later. It also illustrated a defining trait of his career path, a willingness to walk away from established success and pursue an entirely different direction, whether that meant leaving a major wrestling promotion at the height of his popularity or attempting to break into a sport where he had no professional experience. After the NFL did not work out, Lesnar signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He then transitioned into mixed martial arts, signing with the UFC in the late 2000s. His MMA run proved successful. He captured the UFC Heavyweight Championship in 2008 by defeating Randy Couture in his 4th professional fight. Along the way, he recorded notable wins over Frank Mir and Shane Carwin, establishing himself as one of the sport's most dominant heavyweights and a major pay-per-view draw. His combination of amateur wrestling background, explosive power, and crossover fame from WWE made him one of the biggest attractions in UFC history during this stretch, and his fights consistently ranked among the promotion's highest-grossing events. Lesnar first retired from MMA in 2011. His UFC career included a controversial final chapter. In 2016, Lesnar returned to the UFC to face Mark Hunt at UFC 200, winning by unanimous decision. Shortly afterward, it was revealed that Lesnar had failed an out-of-competition drug test administered by the U.S. anti-doping agency, and a second sample collected the night of the fight also came back positive, both testing positive for the substances clomiphene and hydroxychloroquine. In December 2016, the Nevada Athletic Commission suspended Lesnar for 1 year, fined him $250,000, and officially overturned his win over Hunt to a no contest. The situation led to a prolonged legal dispute, with Hunt pursuing litigation against Lesnar and the UFC that continued in the years that followed, including an appeal that reached the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in 2024. That chapter remains one of the more contentious footnotes of Lesnar's combat sports career, though it did not prevent his continued success back in professional wrestling. Lesnar returned to WWE in 2012, beginning what became known as his Beast Incarnate era. This second run proved to be the most decorated stretch of his career. In 2014, at WrestleMania 30, Lesnar ended The Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak, snapping a run that had stood at 21-0. He went on to hold the WWE Universal Championship for 504 days, a reign that stood as a record until Roman Reigns surpassed it years later with a 1,316-day title run. During this era, Lesnar also became closely associated with the phrase Suplex City, a signature of his dominant in-ring style, and he engaged in high-profile matches against opponents including John Cena, Triple H, CM Punk, Randy Orton, Goldberg, Seth Rollins, and Samoa Joe. These matches routinely headlined WWE's biggest events and drew some of the promotion's largest pay-per-view audiences of the decade, reinforcing Lesnar's status as one of the industry's top box office attractions well into his 40s. Lesnar's second WWE run was not without disruption. In 2024, his name surfaced in connection with a lawsuit involving former WWE executive Vince McMahon, which led to Lesnar being removed from WWE television and having on-screen references to him scaled back. He returned the following year at SummerSlam, attacking John Cena and beginning what would ultimately become his farewell tour through the trilogy with Femi. Away from the ring, Lesnar's life shifted toward family. He has been living in Canada, where he has spoken about hunting and supporting his 2 sons in hockey. He has also referenced his daughter's aspirations toward the 2028 Olympics. This period of Lesnar's life echoes the same choice he made decades earlier, when he walked away from the NFL Europe opportunity to prioritize family instead of continuing a football career. The parallel underscores a consistent thread across Lesnar's life outside competition, a preference for stepping back from the spotlight in favor of time with family, even at points when his career could have continued at a high level. By the time of his retirement announcement, Lesnar's full list of accomplishments placed him among the most accomplished crossover athletes in modern sports history. He retires as a 10-time WWE champion, having also held the Universal Championship on 3 occasions as part of that total. He is a 2-time Royal Rumble winner, claiming victories in 2003 and 2022. His resume includes the 2002 King of the Ring title, the NCAA Division I Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, and the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Combined with his brief but notable attempt at an NFL career, Lesnar's path across 4 different competitive disciplines, college wrestling, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, and a flirtation with professional football, is not something many athletes in history have accomplished at a comparable level. Few competitors have reached championship status in more than one major discipline, and Lesnar's resume spans amateur athletics, sports entertainment, and a legitimate combat sport at the highest professional tier, alongside a credible attempt at a 4th major sport in the NFL. Lesnar's retirement announcement closed with a message of gratitude aimed at those who had followed his career from its earliest stages. So, I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody on this universe that has followed me since I was a little kid all the way till Saturday. He also thanked his coaches and reflected on his origins, describing himself as a farm kid who built a career from modest beginnings into one of the most recognized names across multiple sports. He also credited a higher power for his success across both wrestling and life, reflecting on the distance he had traveled from his upbringing. Lesnar told McAfee that athletes currently training and trying to make it in their respective sports need to focus on hard work in order to succeed, framing it as advice drawn directly from his own path through 4 decades of competitive sport. With the SummerSlam loss to Femi now standing as the final match of his career, Brock Lesnar's run across professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, and competitive college athletics has reached its conclusion after more than 2 decades in combat sports. His departure closes one of the more unusual chapters in modern sports history, one built on repeated reinvention, championship success in more than one discipline, and a willingness to step away from competition entirely in favor of the life he has built with his family in Canada.